Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to our plastering channel. Jay and I are here to show you how to do a dash finish over this wall. And note, the fellow who owns this house, he pressure washed this with 3,500 psi, used a turbo tip, so he took all of it off. Anything that could come off, he took it off. That bag down there is all of the finish and the painting, all the coats that came off. But for me, I have a better question. He said, how come this wall is brown? And I thought, man, you know, I've answered that a couple hundred times for folks. I'll bet you all the folks who watch what we do, and we have over 100,000 subscribers, in the whole of United States, I'll bet you there's only plasterers over 50 who could answer that question. And the question is, why do they call a second coat of plaster a brown coat? Now, if you notice, sidewalks, curbs, foundations are all gray. And if you also notice, in this country, all of the, say, second coats of stucco are all brown. Now, again, that question is very, very intriguing. I was given the answer about 40 years ago. I was given the answer because I asked a fellow by who we called Old Man Whitey. And you say, why do you call him Old Man Whitey? Well, Whitey was his last name. And he was old. I mean, we didn't call him Old Man Whitey. In front of him, we just said Mr. Whitey. But he knew the answer to everything. So I said, hey, Whitey, how come they call a second coat a brown coat? And at the time, we were working in San Francisco on the piers. You know, the piers, Pier 29 all the way to 39. And my job at 20 was to assist Old Man Whitey. And all I did for Old Man Whitey was I'd mix his cement. And what he would do is transform those railroad stations into beautiful restaurants. He would do all the mold work by hand. Old Whitey was, that man knew everything. He was the best plasterer I ever met. So he told me the answer to that question. And I thought, And he went on to say, that's the problem with you young boys. You don't know crap. I got to tell you everything. And so after he explained that, the answer to that question, I said, well, Whitey, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? He looked at me, he said, there you go again, asking me stupid questions about stuff that don't amount to anything. I said, well, it's a commercial that's actually on TV all the time. I'm just messing with you. Anyway, toward the end of this video, I want you guys to ponder, think about that question, because it's a pretty interesting answer. In fact, how interesting is it? I was with one of the best plastering contractors I know. Before, you know, I looked at this last week and I bid it. And I was sitting with my buddy, we were having dinner. And I said, man, how come they call the brown coat, the second coat, brown if it's gray? And he didn't lose a beat. He says, it's a baking terminology. And I said, go on. And he says, well, you know how you bake bread and it browns? I said, yeah. He says, that's what it means. You brown out a wall, baking terminology. And I said, man, where'd you get that kind of information? And so we're going to dash this. I said, so you mean like a terminology like soon we're going to be dashing this. I'm going to use a dash brush. And the old terminology was a dash of salt. So that's where a dash brush come in, because we're going to dash this wall. But that's another story. So right off the top, he says it's a baking terminology. And I thought, not according to Old Man Whitey. I said, you remember Old Man Whitey? He said, oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember him. So I proceeded to tell him what Old Man Whitey said. And he says, that's nonsense. And I said, is it? That comes from Old Man Whitey. And you know Old Man Whitey, he doesn't mess around. That guy knows everything. He did all the storefronts or buildings in San Francisco. We even worked at Lawrence Livermore Lab. They were doing a screen there where they were projecting laser beams on it, trying to change the composition. I mean, we had to get clearances to get in there. Old Man Whitey would be called because it took an expert. I was just a helper at that time, 40 years ago. Anyway, I'm going to tell you the answer to this, and I'm going to show you proof, because I spent 3 hours online looking for it, because I said, I know Old Man Whitey couldn't be wrong. And by the way, guys, time's ticking. It's about 95 degrees here and it's hot. So we're going to get started, but think about that for a minute because that's an interesting question. And I haven't found a person yet. I've only been asking for a week because I always thought I knew the answer to it. And not one has even come close to the reason. If you're in the UK and you're over 40, more than likely, if you're a plasterer, you know the answer. But people here in the United States, we're new to cement. It's only been about 200 years. In UK, they've been doing cement plastering, lime plastering for 10,000 years. So anyhow, we're going to get started. And I'm going to start doing other things and taking care of what we're here for. But at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what that's all about. All right, guys, I'm going to show you how to dash and why the term is even placed on dash. First, what we need is we got to have a bucket of water. We got to have a dash brush, 8-inch bristles. Can you use a whisk broom? I have when I didn't have this. Anyway, this is a dash brush, and this mud right here, Lou mixed it up. I said, give me some rich mud. What's rich mud mean, guys? That just means instead of 3-to-1, give me half cement and half sand because I need it to stick. If it's too sandy, it won't stick. It'll just bounce all over, go in your eyeballs. It's bad enough. I was caulking yesterday and scraping, and I had stuff in my eyes all night. Wear glasses, wear goggles. Why am I not? Because I'm a professional. Anyway, as far as dash, you could see. Now I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this part of the brush, flip it, then use this part of the brush. I'm not going to go at weird angles, otherwise the dash will go on at weird angles. So, meaning, let me position myself, this flat part, okay, I got a few. So I'm turning it here, and then watch, I'm going to spin it to the other side and dash with it. And when all the mud is off, then you dip it back in the water. I'll show you something, you guys, trying to dash. Okay, the dash brush, I dip it all the way in, and I don't care if I get filthy. Back over here, Jay, please. All right, guys, what I'll do is I'll go all the way in like that, and yeah, I'll get it all over the place. Sometimes I just wipe it off here. This isn't a job where you're going to stay clean, guys, so if you're thinking about staying clean, forget it. Now you get your brush filled up. I'm just going to do it. And we're dashing. What we're doing is we're matching the finish that he originally had, because when they did this, they painted, they did that, they didn't have a perfectly clean wall. They had dust, dirt, grime, mold, moss, something on it, and that destroys the bond, guys, every time. Not even a good primer or caulking will adhere to a dusty, dirty surface. I'll show you guys one more thing about dashing, because now all the moisture gets absorbed into the brush. So you put your whole dash brush in the water. I got a water bucket here. And then now that clean water, I'm going to let it drip in here, clean the sides, and then push it kind of down. And that way you keep the mud consistent, you keep it with moisture in it, because you'll dry a bucket up in a minute and you'll say, man, how does Kurt do that? And I can't do it. You got to keep adding water, guys, and you keep flicking it a little bit at a time, guys. What we want to do is, we have no problem with the heat, it's about 100 degrees, but what we want to do is we want to put it on, and once you keep flicking, and there's no more mud on here, guess what, guys, there's no more mud. Put some more on, get it in there. I've done this on houses where all day, 10 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, that's all I would do is dash. At the end of the day, you get spaghetti arms. What does that mean, guys? That means your arm is so sore at night from doing this thousands and thousands of times. So at this stage, obviously, you learn how to dash. And I've been dashing 30, 40 years. So I know how to do this, so I'm trying to explain to you new guys who need to know how to do this, because although Jason's young and he's doing this, the world can use a few more plasterers. So it's a good living. It's kind of dirty at first, but once you learn how to do everything, you can stay clean. I'm doing the dirtiest thing here. But yet, towards the end of the day, I won't be too dirty. And besides, you got to do something to survive. Got to put food on the table somehow. And all you guys, when I said earlier that I'll tell you the answer to that question about why they call the second coat a brown coat, I'd tell you now, except I have to read it. And I don't want to stop what I'm doing and grab the paperwork and read it. So if my buddy couldn't figure out or didn't know the answer, and he's a better plasterer than me, he got more time in. And why I say he's better, he's probably, he's better. He got a lot of time in. And there's been 3 finishes that I couldn't match in 40 years. And I told the guy, call this guy. Call Andy Davis of Davis Stucco, because he's better than me. And he knows how to match finishes like the dash finishes. There are dash finishes that have seashells in them or aggregate. They have abalone shells. Those 3 I can't match. I've tried. It takes too many. It takes too long to go to different material yards to find all those aggregates or fancy seashells. Andy has done it 3 times, and I told one lady, I said, if anybody could match this, it will be Andy. And she called Andy, and perfect match. I said, how'd you match that? And he says, piece of cake. So anyway, and people know they could skip ahead and not listen to me ramble on about what I'm doing here if you want to know the answer to that question, but I got to read it. Anyway, we're getting to that stage. I'm going to finish all this up here. It's going to take me about a half hour. Who wants to listen to me for another half hour, talk about a whole bunch of useless stuff that don't amount to nothing? Then stay tuned. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and dash this. When we drop down, we'll tell you a few more things. All right, guys. I'm going to point out something for all you young bucks who are going to take over this trade along with Jason, because I'm not going to be doing this forever. We use about 8 of these buckets right here. 8 buckets, about 4 wheelbarrows. Do I have to keep doing this on the bottom? Not really, because now all I'm doing is for color, because I don't want any joints. So the bottom already was sort of textured already with this dash finish. So I'm just showing you, you want to do it all. And why? The transition, guys. The transition is real important. It doesn't matter if you're doing a float, a dash, a skip trowel. The transition is what's important. There's a transition here. We take this whole wall because we want a pretty transition. Here, the same thing. The transition is pretty. Here, all I did was wet this. If you just wet it, the stucco won't adhere. So I took the water hose and just washed it right off. Unless there's a blue adhesive, or doesn't matter what color the adhesive is, the bonding agent, it won't adhere. So I used about 8 buckets there. And when I said earlier, we're teaching you youngsters how to do all this because I'm no spring chicken. In fact, if you guys are real observant, you'll look at these legs. There'll always be somebody, and he'll say, man, you know, if it were me, I would have just brought wheels for these legs. Well, you can see here what the wheels are for. The wheels from here are on Jason's weight equipment. Jay and all his friends work out often. They're considering joining that pound for pound strongman competition and see how much they can lift. In fact, he built the structure here, and he also built this pull-up bar Monday. It's Wednesday now, so Monday night I tried the pull-up bar, and I did a lot. Well, let's just say I did too many, because yesterday it took me 10 hours to get through the day, or 10 aspirin to get through the day. In other words, I'm no spring chicken. So I'm teaching you guys how to do this. And lastly, I wanted to point out too, because somebody might say, I don't believe what you're saying as far as the brown coat. This whole thing was about what color is the second coat. It's called a brown coat when in fact it's gray. It's gray, and when this dries, it's going to be gray. So I'm going to read to you what Anne Grimmer. All right, guys, I'm going to read to you what Anne Grimmer, she's a famous historian author, wrote. So you don't think I made this stuff up. What old man Whitey had told me. So this is 40 years ago he told me, so I always thought something very similar. It says, the composition of stucco depended on the local customs and available materials. Stucco often contained mud or clay. It goes, the appearance of the stucco was determined by the color of the sand. So in those days they had lime. Lime is white usually, and you put the sand, what do you get? You get tan, you get a brown coat. So that's a brown coat. That's where the terminology comes from, according to Old Man Whitey and according to this author here. They even went as far as to say you could put additives ranging from animal blood or urine to eggs, even ground up hooves and horns, varnish, wheat paste, beeswax, wine, beer, and rye whiskey. Now if you're like me, you're thinking, man, that's a waste of whiskey. But anyway, guys, we wanted to point out some of the things and why they call it a brown coat, because I've been telling people that for 40 years. It took me like 3 hours to find just something that I could vindicate myself or prove that what I say, according to Old Man Whitey, was accurate. So, Kirk and Jason signing off. We thank you folks for watching, and as usual, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Something you probably already know, that like most content creators on YouTube, my dad and I are members of the Amazon Affiliates program. What does that mean? That means that we can show and link you to some of the most commonly used tools in the plastering trade on Amazon, like our hawks and trowels, scoops, floats, and some of the other things, our battery-operated tools for breakout and cutting, etc. Now, if you buy those tools from those links, we earn a small percentage of that. That allows us to keep making these videos and keep putting out quality content for you folks to enjoy.
Once again, folks, we thank you for watching, and I really enjoy all your comments.
If you guys like this video, please click the like button down below. And also, if you enjoy what we do, subscribe to our channel so we can keep making these videos for you.
My name is Kirk.
And Jay.
We thank you for watching, and from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.